78.6 FM, positive vibes with Winsome. It is good to be back. Want to make sure y'all can hear me. Yes, we can. 78.6 FM, positive vibes with Winsome. Let me get my seat all adjusted. I was over here trying to get the side camera set up and just doing a little something extra today. As of course, you know me, I'm a little extra, right? 78.6 FM, positive vibes with Winsome. I'm so excited to have another Saturday to be back on the air. I would rather be nowhere doing nothing than right here with you right now. Nothing else. So thank you for your time. If you are tuning in here in Yomitan, it is a beautiful day. Humid. It is that time of year, right, where it gets a little humid out there. So if you guys are tuning in here in Yomitan, it's a little humid, but it's a beautiful day. I woke up. The sun woke me up today. The sunrise was coming up. And if you guys know the way I'm set up, I like to have my room so I can see the sunrise. And it wakes me up, energizes me. When I got a quick workout in, it was great. You know, I really wanted that for myself today. Have you ever done that the night before? You kind of like, you know what I really want for myself tomorrow? And I'm going to ask that question, and I ask it for a reason. Have you ever told yourself what you want for yourself and shot for it? Right? So last night, as I'm going through my list of things to do for today, what do I want for myself today? So I told myself I want to wake up and I want to go to the gym. That was one of the things I wanted for myself today. I want to wake up and I want to go to the gym, right? What else did I want for myself? I told myself I want to make sure that I write out the things that I want to discuss today, because usually I come in and I free fire, right? It's never scripted. You'll never get a Positive Vibes radio show that's scripted. I do it from the heart every single Saturday. However, I'm talking about self-love, right? And when you're talking about a topic that's so near and dear to my heart, I wanted to make sure I kind of wrote out what I wanted to discuss. So as we, should I say, journey through self-love today and the exploration of what that really means, right? I wanted to kind of give you some of the main components of what it means to practice self-love. Then I want to give you some practical tips, ways to apply that to your life as soon as the show is over. So what did I want for myself? I love myself enough to say I want to wake up and do something physically that's good for me tomorrow. So get up, get out of the bed when the sunrise wakes you up and go work out, right? So that's what I did today. I went and got a good quick workout in before the show, went back to the crib, or crib means house, went back to the house, got my shower on, picked out the shirt I wanted to wear today for the radio, looked in the mirror, did a quick shave, right? And then came straight here to do this. Again, I'd rather be nowhere else than right here with you. Let's talk about my week. Man, it's been a crazy week. So this is my first full week back at work. And I'm going to tell you from my day job, right? A lot of things have changed. There's a lot of transition going on, new people, a new program that we're prepping for. One of my biggest things for my people this week was take your time back. If it's possible, let's not stay here any longer than we have to. Let's not come in any earlier than we have to. Let's take care of our business and get out of here, right? It's very important to me, and I was explaining it to one of my teammates who I had a wonderful conversation with this week, is time is the one thing we'll never get back. So if I can give you guys that on my team, if I can give you your time so you can do those things that matter, go to the gym, run those errands, do something that you need to do for your home, do something you need to do for yourself. If I can give you just a little bit of time back to go do that, that means the world to me, because I value time. If you've listened to me before this, you know that's my number one value, time. Because if you manage that, you can pour into the time that you have into those things that matter to you the most, right? So he understood it. He got it. So I was like, yeah, let's do this, man. You guys get in, get out of here. And we had 2 days where we were doing virtual training. Shout out to the EQI team that's doing the EQI and the EQ360 training. I'm learning a different way to see emotional intelligence, which is wonderful for me. You know, I like to learn different ways to teach, different ways to counsel, different ways to coach, to consult. And so that was really cool to get a different perspective on emotional intelligence this week, and that's what we've been doing for the past 2 days. It's 4 days split up into different, I guess we had 2 days this week, and then we'll have 2 days in 2 weeks, right? We're just going to knock it out, get it out the way. It's kind of hard to wrangle everybody up in a 4-day block, so we kind of split it up. However, emotional intelligence has been on the docket. You guys know how passionate I am about emotional intelligence. So to have an opportunity to learn with friends, right, from throughout this entire region. Shout out to the development advisors here in the Pacific region. And I said region. The Pacific region. I'm excited, so let me slow down. And when I say that, these are individuals in places such as Japan, Korea, Hawaii, Guam, right? And we all have a chance to meet up in this virtual arena. We text each other all the time in the group chat, but we get a chance to meet up, learn, encourage, and develop together. We're growing as a team. Someone this last week said something that I love already. You know, you've seen it on my emails, messages, probably, and some of the things I've done in the past, but I reminded them after I heard the young lady that's not one of us say this in our group. And she said, "Alone we go fast, but together we go far." And if you don't know my story with this team, 2 years ago when I started my day job, I didn't have a team that I can reach out to and collaborate with, share ideas, grow with, trust with ideas and feedback. I didn't have that throughout this region that we have now. It was very important to me when I had the opportunity to try to build that. It's nothing like building a community with not just like-minded individuals, but also individuals whose whole goal is to push each other, the communities we're responsible for, to grow them, develop them, and to educate, encourage, and inspire. It means the world to me. So it's very fun to have an opportunity to connect with these guys in that arena. I got to give a shout out to all of the folks, of course, who have sponsored not just the show, but the opportunities that we go out to pour into others. So quick, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Talent Smart, the original company that taught me what I know about EQ, right? All the concepts, all the information, the certifications, the opportunities to pour the knowledge of emotional intelligence into others comes from what I learned with my time from Talent Smart. Also recently developing with this team the emotional intelligence habits, which is from that book. Of course, we start at emotional intelligence at work for us, but it's been such an amazing journey. And when I say that it's been such an amazing journey, I remember starting with reading the book. And then I go even further back when I was reflecting. I remember waiting for the book, right? Imagine this. I read Emotional Intelligence 2.0. I read Emotional Intelligence Teams, of course, by Dr. Travis Bradbury and Gene Graves, or Greaves, however you want to say it. I read both books, and I was waiting, kind of like people wait for summer movies to come out, for Emotional Intelligence Habits. And if I'm not incorrect, it was August 19th of last year that the book actually dropped. And when the book dropped, I'm like a big kid because, I had pre-reserved it. I'm waiting for it to come in, and bam, I'm listening to it digitally. I'm reading it physically. I'm going through the hardcover. It was exciting for me. But my whole thought process was, I want to see what concepts Dr. Bradbury delivers. I want to internalize it. I want to learn it. I want to fall in love with it so I can teach others. Because the mission that we've had with EQ, the journey we've had, the story we've had has been beautiful. It's been amazing. It's been insurmountable to people in previous opportunities and seats, but it's been something that we've been able to achieve as a team and as a family. And I notice a lot of other people are reaching for this now, right? Especially in our time and in our season and our force. Developing EQ skills and actually utilizing them and understanding what it means is important. I move on to that, and I want to say thank you to Talent Smart. And next, the Flatter Leadership Academy. Now, if you guys aren't tracking who the Flatter Leadership Academy and why they're so important to me, is because when I left the United States Air Force for about a total of 8 months, I was searching for what I wanted to do next. I kind of had an idea. I was trying to put it all together. And A lot of people, and I'm going to say this, and I have no ego in this, there are a lot of people that got out of the force ahead of me. And when I say that, they retired, separated, or they were planning at the end of their career, they were keeping this a secret. So when I'm seeking mentors, right, and I'm going to say this, when I'm seeking mentors out there and I'm looking for someone to help guide my path because I'm wanting to know what I need to do next, and I'm looking for these people and I'm asking, I want to do what you're doing. How do I do that? They wouldn't tell me. They would, in a roundabout way, send me 1,000 steps to get to something that really only took 5. One phone call, one email, one website. They sent me 1,000 different directions to get there. But you know what? I did it without them. And I'm going to say this again, because I really appreciate Flatter Leadership Academy, which used to be Two Roads Leadership, which was, of course, before that, Flatter Inc. But I'm going to tell you, I sat back when I was gone for 8 months, and I was just networking, being myself, loving on people, introducing myself to people. And there was one guy, I think I've told you guys this story once before, Bill Butcher, who actually saw what I was putting into the universe, what I was putting into the world, how I was pouring into others. And he's the reason that I had my first interview with Flatter, that I was introduced to the company. And he saw something in me that he thought would be important for the company. So, of course, I was at that time about to be a part of the Speakers Bureau, which would have been amazing, go out and speak under this umbrella, create opportunities for others, still pouring into people, doing what I love to do, but it would have been for this company. Ultimately, I made the decision to come back and do what I do with my day job. So that didn't happen the way it originally was supposed to, but I'm still connected to the team. So everything that we go out and do, encouraging, growing, and building other coaches, thank you, Flatter Leadership Academy, for your love, your trust, encouragement. I'm looking forward to our conversation tomorrow with you, Dr. Flatter. It's going to be really exciting to see what else we can do here in the Pacific region. All right, moving forward, right? We're going to talk also about Free Period Press. So if you guys have seen me going out teaching and I'm giving away gifts, right? One of them is from the Lighthouse here, the Zampa Lighthouse, where I go every weekend, where I'm going after this show. And the other one is from Free Period Press. They are the self-care journals. Beautiful hardcover, baby blue, activities inside for self-care, daily activities you can do. It's kind of cute. And I hand those out. But I never had access to those here because to order them, you have to live in the States. So the team from Free Period Press lovingly made sure that I had enough to take with me when I go and speak at these engagements and make sure that I'm able to share the importance of self-care with others, because it's important to me. We're going to talk about that too, because that's actually one of the components of self-love. 78.6 FM Positive Vibes radio show. I say all that to say this. I can't do what I do alone. Alone, I'll go fast, but together with all these teams, all these people, we'll go far. Not just what I do, what I speak about, but I make sure that I show love to everyone who's poured into me, so that I have the strength, ability, courage, and energy to pour into others. I love it. I love what we do. I love our mission. I love our purpose. I love everything that I've done and been able to do with these teams over the past few years, because I didn't see this 3 years ago. I wouldn't even pictured any of this 3 years ago. But to see it happening, I wish I can tell you the feeling I get inside when I sit back after an event and I'm looking at the videos and pictures and I'm just like, wow, that just happened. I just came from England or Florida or San Antonio, Texas, or somewhere here with a big audience and poured life and just was very vulnerable and loving and spoke love into these people's lives. I want to tell you a story about that. I'll tell you, did you know before the break that the end of last year, I had a senior leader tell me that we were doing too much resilience, that we were teaching too much and encouraging too much. They wanted more leadership focus. I wish I can elaborate on that. I'll just tell you what's happening right now is reason why you can't back off from speaking love. We'll be right back after this break. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes or Winsome. So, yes, I'm back. I'm excited to be back in the studio. I've taken some time. I had to really spend time with the family over the summer, make sure I poured love into them, gave them all the energy I promised them I owed them, and just to show them that I'm not just speaking when I tell you I love you. I want to show you. Everything I have, I gave to my family during the summer break. So that was very important to me. So forgive me if you guys didn't see me as much over the summer as I had hoped. However, I can tell you that my family loved being in here in the booth, getting a chance to speak with you, telling their stories, their little cute selves. And I am excited to be back to share whatever is going on, not just in my heart and in my mind, but just around the world. We need to be able to pour into each other, right? It's so much happening right now. And I can speak to my country when I say what's happening on the news. Some of the things that I'm seeing in the world in our country is disheartening, right? It's sad. Keeping friends and family that are in some of those locations in thoughts and prayer. Then our day job, we got people who are going and doing things that we have to do because we're charged to do, and that's what we signed up to do. And it's really a very highly emotional time in our world right now. So speaking and teaching on emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-love, all of these things are important because you can't start pouring into others if you haven't found a way and learned how to pour into yourself. I'm going to say that again. I can't tell you I love you if I don't know what love looks like. I can't tell you how much I love you if I don't know how to express that. So I have to learn what that looks like, feels like, sounds like before I can give you what love is. One of the things that I'm also teaching, we got Elevate. I want to send a shout out to, of course, author and a new friend of mine, Robert Glazer. Thank you so much for trusting me with the concepts and our team with the concepts from your book, Elevate. If you guys haven't seen it, it's really great. I'm not going to spoil it too much till after we release it, but we're going to be doing a hybrid learning lesson on the book Elevate. So what we did, we've pulled the concepts that really apply and the most important concepts, takeaways from this book. I'm going to do it probably in a 60 to 90 minute session. I'm probably leaning more towards 90. I'm going to try to get closer to 60. But that's going to be on 29 August. Once I get to the other side of this EQI training, of our first term enlisted course on base, and the other side of these foundations courses that we are teaching for our force at the moment. So on the other end of that, 29 August, 11:30 a.m. Japan Standard Time, it's going to be Elevate. So I'm excited about that. What I'm even more excited about is to talk to you guys today about self-love. So I'm going to get into my notes, right, about self-love, because I really want to make sure that when I leave out of here, that we're talking about the right language and I'm explaining it in a way that you can apply these concepts immediately to your life. The first one I want to talk about is self-acceptance. What does that mean, dude? Of course, I accept who I am and what I do. No, time out. Self-acceptance is being able to embrace who you are, including those flaws and imperfections. And I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like and what that means. In my podcast recently, in one of the messages, I was explaining, when you look in the mirror, do you see an ally? Do you see your best friend? Do you see a work in progress? Do you see someone who, and when you look at that reflection, do you realize that that person is enough? Do you realize that that person is a blessing, that that person is a gift to the world? A lot of people, they go through their time and they look in the mirror and sometimes they don't see their own best friend. When they look in the mirror, sometimes they don't love or like what's looking back at them. Sometimes they don't even know what they're looking at. Sometimes they're not really sure who they are. So understand something when we talk about self-love, if we haven't started that self-acceptance, and it's more than just recognizing and understanding that you are enough, but self-acceptance is also about accepting that I am able, I am, I can, I will do whatever I set my mind out to, right? You're looking in the mirror and you're saying, this is who I am. I'm owning my life. Listen to what I'm telling you. I own my decisions up to this point. I love who I've become. Even if I'm not who I thought I was going to be, I am happy, content, and accept who I am. A lot of people struggle with that. They don't look in the mirror and they're not in love with the person that's looking back at them. So how are you going to be saying, I can't say how are you going to be saying, how can you say that you practice self-love or that you love who you are if you haven't started with self-acceptance? There's some things throughout this you're going to hear, like being able to forgive yourself for some of the decisions you've made, being proud that you've survived your worst days. Listen to me. There's a lot that goes into this, but I want to give you some steps. So there's another piece of that. The third piece is releasing it and letting go of the need for external validation. And if you're not tracking me when I say this, letting go of the need of external validation, I don't need you to tell me I'm good. I don't need you to tell me that I'm okay. I don't need you to tell me that I'm living the life I need to. I need myself to believe, understand, and to convince myself that I am where I need to be in my life and I am enough. Now, other people, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, how other people are important for encouragement to be able to tap into when it comes to trying to navigate things. Yes, that is important too. But seeking that, having that as a need, that external validation, someone has to tell you that you are. No. Being able, once you get past that and you're able to release that in your life, then you are truly learning self-acceptance. Another piece to that, if you guys are struggling with any of those things, let me remind you, it's embracing who you are, recognizing that you are enough, and releasing the need for external validation. If you struggle with that, here's some tips, man. Mindfulness. It's crazy how I can teach a whole segment on mindfulness and it keeps popping up everywhere, right? Understand that mindfulness is practicing to become self-aware of those critical thoughts and doing so without judgment. I had a friend of mine recently tell me that she felt bad about some decisions she had to make. And I said, why do you feel bad? And she said, well, because the way it affected the other person. I said, but I understand you made the decision to say or do something because of the way it was affecting you, right? She said, yeah. And I said, so this too shall pass. The way you're feeling, this wasn't a coaching, this is a friendship conversation. This is a friend. The way you're feeling is going to pass because you did what was right to protect your peace, to protect your mind, to protect your world first. You can't be focused so much on everybody else before worrying about you. It starts with you. And if you are nothing, you have nothing left, you've been allowing yourself to get beat up, you don't have any energy, any fuel in the tank, but then you're so focused and hyper-focused on everybody else's feelings, when it's all said and done and everybody else gets what they need, want, and are chasing, you're on fumes or there's nothing left. And then you're trying to pick up the pieces. So I tell this person, this too shall pass. Listen, practicing mindfulness without judgment means being able to understand what your thoughts and feelings, emotions are, being connected with yourself, being present with what's going on around you, putting you first in your life and your world in front of you, and understanding who you are and where you are. The way it connects is amazing. But I'm going to tell you, I love mindfulness for you. Because once you get that piece down, no matter what class, what session, what seminar, what subject I'm teaching, mindfulness has come up almost 9 out of 10 times every time, just like self-awareness, almost 9 out of 10 times every time. Part of that is self-reflection. Another action step is to engage in self-reflection. You can do that through journaling. You can do that through going to a spot that you know you go for those things where you can actually just tune out the world or shut out the world and just reflect on your week, your day, your evening, whatever you need to reflect on your life. I'll tell you, and it's not by comparison, I'm not trying to project me onto you, but I will say I adore those places where I can go and block out the world. So if you have that place you can block out the world for your self-reflection, those spots in your day, those times where you can journal. I have a teammate now who likes to write down things that happen throughout their day. That's golden when it comes to life nuggets. And as I mentioned earlier, another action step, if you guys are trying to focus in on self-acceptance, is surrounding yourself with supportive people who encourage everything about you. Encourage your self-acceptance. Those people that do pour into you that you are enough. Those people that do pour into you and tell you they're proud of you. Those people that do pour into you and remind you how far you've come. Having those people are important for self-acceptance. Last but not least, challenging those standards of perfectionism, those consumer perfections that everybody's trying to throw at you. What your body's supposed to look like, what you're supposed to be reading, what you're supposed to be sounding like. Listen to me. Trying to make sure that you block out what the world says you should do and focus on what your life says you can do is a game changer. Like, oh, this is the music you should be listening to right now. This is what your body should be looking like. It's heartbreaking to see how many people morph their universe to look good based on what's happening in society this week, this month, this year. Because when it's over, when those trends are said and done, you spent the money, you spent the time, you spent the energy for something that's not even relevant. So how about pouring into you and doing the things for yourself that you love and that bring you joy? If physically you want to change, get in the gym, eat different. Mentally you want to change, read more, celebrate more, engage more, get connected more, to listen to things that are feeding your mind. Emotionally, you want to change, sit down with someone, navigate your emotions, try to understand what you're feeling, study your EQ levels, take those tests. The key is, if you really want to change, instead of pouring into what society looks good out there for this window of time, focus in for what you want for your life and for the foreseeable future of you. Who is it that you're trying to be? Not looks good, but who is it you're trying to be so that you are good on the inside? You're the best version of you. If your chapter was to end next week, that you fought for the best version of you the entire time that you were on this earth. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes Radio Show with Winsome. We'll be right back. .6 FM Yoma Time, Positive Vibes of Winston. We were talking about self-acceptance during that last segment, man. And I'm really totally all of these components that we're talking about is building up your self-love. Some of the things we talked about with trying to build up your self-acceptance, if you weren't here and you're just tuning in, practicing mindfulness, self-reflection, self-affirmation exercises, focusing on your core values, surrounding yourself with those people that are supportive, encouraging, and challenging societal standards. What looks good on TV, what looks good in what's hot right now. Challenging that. Hey, I don't care. This is what brings me peace, what brings me joy. This is what I'm doing. I don't care if everybody's doing this to their body. I don't care if everybody's doing this with their clothes. I don't care if those are the shoes that everybody likes to see on each other's feet. Challenging the norms. This is still who I'm going to be. Your individuality is something unique and beautiful and special. When you take it and own it, this is who I am. I remember, for an example, I used to love Under Armour. Like, you couldn't find me anywhere. Still wearing it, right? But it wasn't because this is what everybody was wearing at the time. That was just my thing. I remember somebody was telling me, hey, man, you always wearing the Under Armour. This is my thing. You might like Nike. You might like to mix it up. You might wear Jordans. I don't do all that fancy stuff. I wear what's comfortable. Under Armour is my favorite outfit. I mean, had the sweats, the shorts, the T-shirts, the polos. I love UA. Their products for me is what makes me happy. Not because that's what society says. There's 1,000 commercials that says you should wear Under Armour. If you don't wear Under Armour, you ain't cool. No, it's because this is what's comfortable for me. I don't care what y'all wearing. You got young cats out here more worried about getting a crease in their sneakers than what they have as far as education and goals and life moves and strategies. Worried about creasing their sneakers. You know what I'm trying to tell you? The part in their hair. Look, all of the things that I know I can't take with me don't matter to me. And while I'm here, I just want to be comfortable and happy. I'm not spending millions of dollars to try to fit in. I just want to be the best version of me. All right, moving forward, man, when we're talking about some other items, man, one of the things that seems like common sense, but a lot of people have struggles with, and I'm going to say that again. One of the things that may seem like common sense, but a lot of people have struggles with, and I wanted to touch on this one, is setting healthy boundaries. I've done a whole segment on this before. Setting healthy boundaries. Listen to me when we talk about this. So what I'm going to cover down on is establishing limits that protect your well-being and your energy. Do you remember earlier when I was telling you how I tell my teammates, get out of here and take your time back? Do you remember that? So these are the kind of things I want to talk to you about, because a lot of people don't do that. They don't set those boundaries. Like, how do you recharge? How do you make sure that you're not doing too much? How do you prevent yourself from getting burnt out? Setting boundaries. One of the biggest things is establishing those limits that protect your well-being and your energy. I've done a whole segment on well-being. My time matters. Your time matters. Your energy matters. You have to be able to know what is for you and what is not for you. You know this from your life, your experiences, your day-to-day, what things you should not pick up and allow into your life. And what I love to say this, people, places, and things, right, that are not good for you, let them go. And you have to make sure that people understand and respect whatever you say is your boundary. Make it public. Make it public. Hey, I don't do that. Check this out. Hey, Winston, you want to go out and drink? I don't drink. It's clear. It's known in my community. Winston doesn't drink. And in my community, I don't get those invitations, because after a while, people know better than to even ask you. And guess what? It starts spreading like a secret, like a storyline. Hey, man, maybe we should see if Winston wants to go. Nah, I don't even ask him. It's kind of like my weekends. Boundaries. People know not to ask for me during the weekend. The weekend is my time. Listen to me. I pour into everybody every single day of the week. I give you everything I got every single day. All I ask of those people that I'm working with, give me my Saturdays back so I can do this, so I can go to the lighthouse, recharge, eat something good in Okinawa, enjoy some scenery, see something beautiful, and come back, recharge. Let me have my weekend. That, my friend, is a boundary. It's communicated. People know that. Don't call that dude after the radio show. Don't call him between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, because he's probably either on the radio or he's enjoying a Zampa Lighthouse. Do you see where I'm going with this? Boundaries that are communicated. People know this about me. Don't drink. He needs his time back. He likes to recharge. Sunday, I want to rest. So if I'm not on an adventure, because everybody sees my Facebook page, social media, looks like I'm always on an adventure. No, I pick and choose my spots. I know what I need to, when I need to rest. I know what I need to recover. I know what my energy looks like when I don't. Boundaries. I've established them because I'm aware of myself and I know who I am, which is part of the puzzle, right? Last but not least, learn when to say no without guilt and when it is necessary. There's nothing wrong with saying no if it's not good for your life, your energy, your health, your mind. Say no. A lot of people say no and they feel guilty. Have a friend right now that has a roommate they don't want because they felt bad about saying no. Fam, no. What is it? How is this affecting you? And understand something. If it's affecting you in a way that you're not able to control, it manifests in other areas that are important to you. Relationships, communities, work. I mean, you have to set these boundaries and be firm. Not be nice. Not when it comes to your boundary and what's good for your well-being, your mental, and your energy. Last but not least, your time. I'm just going to say that. If you struggle with this, if you're one of these people who struggles with boundaries, right, I'm going to give you some action steps. I go out and teach this, and I owe this to you, some action steps as well. Identify a list of your non-negotiable boundaries. Those are personal and professional boundaries. Non-negotiables. Do you have that? When was the last time you did one? A list of non-negotiables. No matter what, I'm not doing this. There's some jobs like mine where I can't come up with certain non-negotiables because our mission responds or our mission dictates what we do next. However, if it's within my control, I have a list of non-negotiables. We teach. We're not staying beyond X point. We need to get home, regroup, and get ready to come back and teach. Get our lesson plans together. Listen to what I'm saying. If we're not working, we're not teaching, we're not invited somewhere, we're not on a mission, we don't work weekends. Non-negotiable. What are you doing at the office? It's communicated. It's working. Communicate your boundaries clearly and assertively. I'm not doing that. I don't drink. I don't go out. I'm sorry. I don't mess with those websites. Oh, no, I can't go to that club. No, I don't want to do this. Clearly and assertively, because it's your name on that. It's your life. You're giving too much power to other people if other people are dictating your life for you. And your next steps. Boundaries. Practice saying no. Reflect on and adjust your boundaries as needed to ensure they're serving you well. More action steps. So look at the boundaries that you've built. Sometimes you're going to look at them and realize that they're not firm enough. You need more. You need to add something, and that's okay. When you reflect, which we've been talking about at the beginning of this segment, when you're reflecting on your boundaries, you can adjust as needed. Fun fact, if you struggle with boundaries still, you can't do it by yourself. Think about therapy or coaching. We just talked about the coaching company this morning. Think about seeking therapy or seeking a coach to help you navigate these things, right? Because setting boundaries is not just important for you as far as your energy, your time, and your well-being, but everything you do next. Who you're going to become or who you're becoming, who you're growing into. And your boundaries identify not just how you treat yourself, but how you and what you are allowing others, how you're allowing them to treat you as well. Because a person living with no boundaries is going to be all over the place. Because not only is their life all over the place, but other people realize that they can do and say whatever they want to because this person has not set clear boundaries in their life. And until you say no, you're not taking your life back. So, if you guys are just tuning in, 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes of Winsome. We've been talking about self-love. I covered down on self-acceptance, and now we were covering down on setting healthy boundaries. We talked about establishing limits that protect your well-being and your energy. Ensuring that others respect your needs and personal space, your needs, what you need for you and your personal space. Learning to say no without feeling guilty because it's what you need in your life. Learning to say no without feeling guilty when it's necessary. I mentioned the person who has a roommate right now that don't want it because they were trying to be nice. but they just let their boundaries go, threw them out the window. Some of the action steps we talked about, right? If you guys weren't listening and just tuning in, identify a list of non-negotiable boundaries. Communicate your boundaries clearly and assertively. Practice saying no, especially if they're low-stakes situations and you can. Because when you start saying no, another thing we didn't mention, when you're able to say no assertively, firmly, and you mean it and you're sticking to it, you're building confidence within yourself. No. When people start accepting, appreciating, and understanding your no, when you start seeing them responding in kind, you're building confidence. You feel good about it. Yo, I stood, what they say these days, I put both my feet down. I stood 10 toes down on that. Listen to me. When you're able to say no with confidence and assertiveness and you are protecting your boundaries, you're building your confidence up. And when you're doing it in one area of your life, you're going to be able to roll that into another area. I also mentioned reflecting on and adjusting your boundaries as needed. I might have said in June, this is where I need to establish boundaries at. And now we're in August. I realized that A, I can ease up or some, or B, I can add more boundaries to my life. I've known, I've seen, I've worked, and I know what works. This is what I need as far as boundaries. They weren't firm enough. They weren't strong enough. I wasn't assertive enough. I didn't communicate them enough. You can adjust, you can check them out, and you can also make sure that you are doing what you need for you. You are not bound. You are not bound to be the same person that you were yesterday, today. That is written nowhere. You choose who's showing up. And part of that is taking your life back, taking your time back, and setting those boundaries that are good for you, your well-being, your energy, and your time. 78.6 FM, positive vibes will win some. We also said if you can't do these things by yourself, no matter what the steps, the action steps I gave you, no matter what you identify as boundaries, you're still struggling. Somebody is still able to creep past them. You haven't been assertive enough. You don't know what's going wrong. You don't know why it's not working. Cool. Sit down with someone. Sit down with a therapist. Sit down with a professional coach. Have them navigate you through how you're approaching these situations. That's all they do. Share with me what's going on. How can I help? Well, these are the boundaries I'm trying to set, and this is where I'm struggling. How are you approaching those boundaries? You say you're being assertive. What does assertive look like to you? Right? What if you tried this? What if you said this? That's how a coach, a therapist, whoever you choose to sit down with is going to help you navigate setting those boundaries. And it's not just about saying it. It's about doing it. Because the moment you ease up on them, it's kind of like 1 inch, people will take a mile. If you set a boundary, stick to it. Don't be inconsistent. It's got to be the new you. You've got to stand 10 toes down. I like that. I'm going to keep using that. When you say this is what you're setting as a boundary for you. You got to stop allowing people to overstep them. We've got a lot of habitual line steppers in the world. Take your life back. We'll be right back after this break. 78.6 FM, positive vibes of Winsome. I'm going to try to get 2 more in here, right? I wrote down 10. I listed 10. I wrote the action steps for all 10. I'm going to try to get 2 more in here before we close this segment. Let's jump into it. One of the most important steps with achieving and maintaining self-love is authenticity. Let's say that again. One of the most important steps and one of the most important aspects of maintaining after you have achieved self-love is authenticity. Let's tell you what that means. That means living in alignment with your true values and beliefs. It's crazy. We talk about this in different classes, and I love this because you guys all know, if you've listened to me, if you've been to one of my seminars, you know values are time, family, and peace. So when I'm living my life, I try to build everything around my days, weeks, months, and year around those 3: time, family, and peace. And where I come into struggle is when things get in the way, life challenges me to where those 3 are no longer able to be prioritized. So listen, if you're trying to identify self-love in your life and where you're struggling, are you living in alignment with your true values and beliefs? Because if you're not, that's going to explain a lot to you. It's going to tell you a lot about yourself. And if you don't know what those even are, what your main primary values, that, my friend, is a problem in itself, because you need to know what you value so you can know how to build your life. And sometimes you need to relook at your values, because your values will change over time based on life and what life throws at you and the decisions you've made in the past and where you are in your life. But you have to make sure to be authentically you, that you are living in alignment with your true values and beliefs. Resist the pressure to conform to others' expectations. Authenticity. Resist the pressure to conform to others' expectations. I stopped trying to people please a long time ago. I realized that I have to live in a world that I'm happy in my own skin. I'm not trying to live up to others' expectations. I realized how that'll send me in a direction or a path or a storyline that I didn't want to write for myself. These are my pages. This is my book. So if I'm living off the expectations of others, right, and not my own, I'm not living an authentic life. So if that's something you struggle with, where you are easily pressured to conform based on expectations of others and not the expectation for the life that you have for you, then you're struggling with the authenticity, which in text may confirm and explain why you may struggle with self-love. You're not living a life that you want to live for you and that you expect of yourself. And I'm not telling you to go backwards and settle for anything. I'm telling you to make sure you're living the life that you want. Then when you wake up in the morning, from the moment you get up to the moment you lay your head on that pillow, that you are being uniquely, authentically you. Because if you're trying to be a people pleaser, if you're trying to live up to other people's expectations, you're going to be living a miserable life, because you're never going to be the person that you want to be for you. Embrace your unique qualities and express them freely. Listen to me, man. One of my unique qualities is loving on others. So you think I'm ever going to stop finding ways to do it? I know there's a lot of selfish people in this world. So I'm going to tell you, being able to embrace your unique qualities and express them freely. How are you finding ways to identify those things that are unique to just you? You've heard me say this before. You are unique. You are one of one. You are a feared, uniquely beautiful creation in this world. It's just one you. I don't care if someone looks exactly like you on the other side of the continent. There's only one you. You are a fearlessly made, beautiful creation, unique. Your mind works only the way that your mind works. Your story is moving only the way that you wrote it. Your thought processes, your feelings, your goals, your dreams, your vision. It's just you. So how do you take your unique qualities about you and express them freely? What things do you do to give that light of yours to the world? And if you haven't figured that out, again, we're talking about authentic. When you're living in your all day, you can have, I've already been telling you, you can have different parts of you that you share with the world. There's the military side of me, civilian side of me, the radio show host, public speaker, podcast speaker. I mean, so many different pieces. The dad, the friend. I mean, there's so many aspects. How are you sharing your unique qualities with the world and the community around you? So if you're not able to do that, if you haven't found a way, that's why you're struggling with your authenticity. I'm going to give you some tips. Let's do it. Identify your core values and ensure your daily actions reflect them. Me, time, family, and peace. Everything I do every single day reflects them. What are your core? I'll give you 3. That's it. That's your homework. Give me your 3 core values. When you got those, when you identify those, that should be a world builder for you. And I'll say that again. That should be a world builder for you to start at. What do you value in your life? What's important to you? Engage in activities and hobbies that bring you joy and fulfillment. Woo, buddy. I love to travel. I love seeing the beach. I love getting on the ferry. I shared this with my family while they were here visiting. All the things that bring you joy, make you smile. Those things that allow you to disconnect from the world. And don't let the fear of judgment of others, if your things that bring you joy is sitting down and watching a Netflix episode or season all in one day because it is escapism and allows you to disconnect from the world, but it brings you joy, it makes you happy, do that. But what I'm trying to tell you is what brings you joy and fulfillment. What are those things in your life that you can do over and over that just brings you up, lights you up inside? For me, that's accomplishing a new mission, right? Going out and seeing a new part of this island, going on a new adventure, doing something unique to me that lights me up, going up to the lighthouse and feeling the sun hit my skin, listening to the wind, seeing all the kids happy walking around the trail. What is it that brings you joy and fulfillment? My why, seeing my kids smile. Come on, man. What brings you joy and fulfillment? Practice speaking your truth in the safe and supportive environments. Speaking your truth in safe and supportive environments. Sometimes you got to sit down with somebody. Get that off your chest. Again, authenticity. Avoid social comparison by focusing on your personal journey and growth. I can't say this any more ways than this one. Stop comparing yourself to others. Comparing yourself is a thief of joy and an insult to your existence. You are one of one, uniquely and wonderfully made. There's no reason that you should be trying to be anyone else other than you. You are beautiful. You are amazing. You are wonderful. Own that. There's only one you, and you only get one life. Live it. Reflect on past decisions where you compromised your authenticity and plan how to do it differently in the future. There's been many times where I was less than me in the past, that I was bringing less than me to the table, that I compromised, dimmed my light for others, where I didn't allow myself to be me when I walked in trying to be somebody else or trying to tone it down to make other people happy. I would never again dim my light to make someone else comfortable, because my light is just as important as anyone else in that room, in that world, in that area. Yours too. Your light is special. You are unique, one of one, individually and wonderfully made. Love yourself. That is the greatest love you can ever learn how to do, is to love you. You are loved. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. See you next week.